Hello, this is an instructional video on how to play Megawatt, especially useful for those of you who don't like reading instructions. So let me just show you how to set up the game. We've got 4 card types and we'll set them up in the middle of the table. So we've set up the 4 different card types out in front of us. So we've got technology cards, action cards, upgrade cards and event cards. So make sure to leave a little bit of space in between each of the piles. And I'll just quickly talk through what the different card types are. So you've got technology cards. These are your sources of power. And they are things like hydro, nuclear, wind, solar, all these kind of different energy sources. Each of these cards has a power, which you want to maximize, an impact, which you want to minimize, and a cost. And you have a certain amount of money that you can spend each round. So these are your main sources of power. We then have upgrade cards. So upgrade cards improve your grid in various different ways, and they can improve your grid through things like increasing how much power you have, reducing the impact, improving how much money you can spend, or how many cards you can draw. We'll go through those in a little more detail later. And also you have action cards. So these are things to boost your hand or to mess with other players. So it makes it a little bit fun and competitive and helps you win the game. And finally, we've got these event cards. These cards you don't draw. They start off each of the event phase rounds. And these could be political or climate events that put your grid to the test. So how do you win the game? So the winner is the player with the most power and the least amount of impact. So your score is your total power minus your total impact. So how do we build a grid? So there are 9 rounds in the game. The first 2 rounds are your build phase, where you only use technology cards, and the next 7 rounds are the event phase, where all the other cards come into play. So let's start with the build phase, and for this I'm going to bring in another player. Here we have our player Lewis. So what we're going to do is start with the technology card. So I'm the youngest player, so I'll go first. I'll draw 4 cards. So you start off with drawing 4 cards, and I'll just show everyone what I've got. So I've got a nuclear, a coal, a biomass, and a gas. Now what I can do, I have 5 coins to spend. So you'll notice that nuclear power costs 5. So if I was to build nuclear, and I build it by placing in front of me, that is my 5 coins spent. Or I can decide to build a coal and a biomass, that's another 5 coins. Or for example, I could build biomass and gas and not use all of my coins. So those are kind of my options at the moment. So let me go with that. Let me build a biomass and a gas. And now I have 2 cards in my hand left. So you have to end the game with 1 card in your hand. So I have to decide which of these I want to get rid of. Now I've already got quite a lot of fossil fuels here, so I'm going to get rid of my coal. Now to do that, I place it face up next to the technology pile, and I now have 1 card in my hand left. I can also choose to discard this one. If I have 1 in my hand, I can only draw 3 left next, so I can only have 4 cards in my hand. So that's my turn over. Lewis, how are we going now?
Okay, so I'm going to take 4 of these technology cards. Just to show you, I've got wind, solar, hydro, and another wind. So with the 5 coins that I've got, I'm going to go for solar and hydro. And again, so I lay these on the table like that.
Yep.
And then I've got to decide which one I discard.
So you've only spent 3 coins, so you can actually build all of them.
Oh, do you know what? I hadn't. Okay, I hadn't done my maths properly, so I'm actually going to put these all down. So I've got wind, solar, and hydro, and I'm going to put the other wind next to that. Is that right?
That's it, perfect. So Lewis has been able to spend all 5 of his coins, whereas I only managed to spend 4. But Lewis has used all his cards, so he's got none in his hand. So that's 1 round done, and we're going to do 2 rounds of this. So I've got 1 card in my hand. I'm going to draw another 3 cards. And what do I have here? I have another nuclear and 2 solars. So this time what I'm going to do is build 1 nuclear. That's my 5 coins. I now have 3 in my hand, and I must get rid of 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to get rid of, let's have a think. I'll get rid of these 2 and keep a solar in my hand.
Okay, so now I don't have any cards at all, so I'm going to pick up another 4 tech cards. I'll try and do my maths better this time. So I have solar, I've got coal, I've got wind, and another wind. Now, I don't necessarily want to have lots of wind. I want a sort of a mix of different energy sources. So I'm going to go for coal, even though it's a fossil fuel, but that's 3. So I've got 2 coins left. So I'm going to put down 1 solar, put down 1 wind, so that's 5 in total. And now I've got a wind left in my hand, so I'm going to keep hold of this.
So that's the build phase. It's nice and simple. So make sure that everyone has had 2 turns, and that is the build phase over. And now we start to introduce the other cards. So we've just done the build phase, where we draw 4 technology cards, spend 5 coins, play them in front of you to build your grid, and then we can discard back down to 1 or 0 cards in your hand. So now what we're going to do is we're going to introduce the next few cards. So first let me introduce the upgrade cards. So there are 8 different upgrades that you can possibly draw, and they roughly fall into 4 different categories. So one of them are your technology upgrades. So these double the power of specific technologies. For example, concentrated solar, offshore wind, or advanced nuclear. So if you build these, it doubles all of your power for that specific technology. We then have energy storage cards. So energy storage cards give you more money each round. So remember, we have 5 coins to spend. Well, if you build these cards, you can actually spend more money. So you could have pumped hydro, which gives you an extra coin, or you could have hydrogen or grid battery, which gives you an extra 2 coins. But watch out, because they do have a negative effect on your power or your impact. Next, we've got carbon capture. Carbon capture reduces the impact of your biomass, coal and gas by 3. So it's a very useful card to play if you've got a lot of fossil fuels and biomass. And finally, you have the interconnector. So remember, you can only draw 4 cards and keep up to 1 each round. Well, if you've built this upgrade, you can draw 5 cards and you can keep up to 2. Couple things to note on the upgrades. You can only play 1 of each type in your grid. They're played out in front of you, just like technologies, and the effect takes place in the next round. So if I've built hydrogen, for example, the extra 2 coins I get in the next round, not in the current one. The final card type that you can draw are the action cards. So these are to help you out or to mess with other players. So for example, you've got a card like Boost, which costs you 0 coins, but if you play it, you get an extra 2 coins that round. Now, all of these actions have various different effects. You've got something like research, which allows you to pick up anywhere from a discard pile. You got something like block, which you place on top of a card pile and prevent people from drawing until your next turn. Or like charge, where you choose a player to steal from and you take 1 of their coins. So you have an extra coin and they have 1 less next time they play. But be careful with the actions, because there is a danger card, which if you draw, you immediately lose 2 coins for that round. So actions are played a little differently to the other cards. So when you draw them and hold them in your hand, but when you choose to play them, their effect is immediate and you place them in the discard pile. So for example, if I've just played transform, I'll play it, I'll tell everyone I've played it and place it face up here. Similarly for block, if I was to play block, it does the effect, it blocks everyone from drawing for a round, and then once it's complete, it goes into the discard pile. Finally, you have the event cards. So these aren't cards that you can draw, but when the event phase starts, you will draw 1 of these event cards and somebody will read it out. For example, I have Let It Snow. Demand for electricity increases as people keep warm in a cold snap. So for this card, the player with the highest power, excluding solar, has an extra 2 coins this round. So everyone adds up the power in their grid, and the player with the highest power, not including all your solar power, gets an extra 2 coins this round. So instead of 5, they can have 7. So there are 25 different event cards, and these can be political or weather events that affect that round. The effects of the event cards last for only 1 round, and you draw 1 at the start of each round. So the event phase works in a very similar way to the build phase. The only differences are I draw the event card at the start and read out the rule. And secondly, I can now draw from any of these 3 card piles. So I could draw 4 technology cards, I could draw 4 upgrades, I could draw 4 actions, or I could draw any combination. So maybe 2 upgrades and a technology and an action. And I can draw 1 and have a look at it. So I'm like, okay, this is a tech card I wanted. Great, I'm now going to draw an upgrade. So you can plan and think about what it is that you're looking for to improve your grid. Now, like before, you can only have 1 card in your hand after playing, and you discard back into the corresponding discard pile. So if I want to discard or use an action, I put it face up next to it, and same as the upgrade, face up next to it. Now what happens when I run out of actions? So eventually you may run out of actions and they're all in this pile here. What you do then is you just simply shuffle them and flip them back over and start again. So that was how you play the event phase. Now Lewis is going to come back and we're going to play a few rounds.
Okay, so I'm ready now for round 3.
Excellent. Okay, so remember we start off by drawing an event card. So let's see what we've got here. A new leaf. Demand for electricity increases as more electric cars hit the road. So you must strengthen your grid by at least 5 power by the end of your turn. Otherwise play nothing and discard all cards in your hand. So we need to increase our power by at least 5. So I need to be thinking about that when I draw. So let's have a look. So I've got 1 card in my hand. Remember from before I had a solar card. So I can draw 3 more and I can draw any of these piles. So let's have a look. Let me start with a technology. So I've got a hydro. So that's actually now, if I wanted to, I could build these 2 and meet the condition. So that's good. So maybe I'm going to draw an upgrade. What have I got here? Ooh, I've got a concentrated solar, which is quite nice for me. And I'll draw an action, let's see, which is a boost, which gives me more money. So let's have a think. I've got 5 coins to start with. I'm going to spend 1 here for the solar. 1 here for concentrated solar, so that's doubled. So I've actually added 6 power this round, so I've met my condition. And that's spent 4 coins. So I've got 1 coin left, but I'm going to use my boost. So I now have 3 coins and build my hydro. So I've managed to use all my cards and meet the condition.
Okay, so I'm going to start again with a tech card, because at the moment I've got a wind, which has power 2, so I need at least 3 more in the power. So the first one is solar. I've got power 4, so I need to get another one at least. Okay, so now I've got hydro, solar and wind. If I put them all down, that would be a total power of 7, so I'd meet the conditions for the event this round. And I still have coins to spare, so I think I might do so a picture, I've got 2 more cards. I'm going to go for an upgrade as well, which is offshore wind.
That's a good one for you.
Okay, so I've got that. I'm going to think about an action as well.
So you can only, because you had 1 in your hand, you can only draw 3 more.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a total of 4 cards in your hand.
Okay, so I've got these 4. Okay, fair enough. So if I put down hydro and an offshore wind, does that double the power of this?
Yeah, so it will double all of your wind power. So you're
okay.
essentially adding on 6 power in that round. So you've met the conditions.
So basically, so if I put this down,
that's enough. You've met the condition.
So that's 6 there in total. I'm also going to add another hydro, and that means I've now spent 5 coin that round. And I reckon they're good, but I'm going to discard these, so next time I have the opportunity to pick up 4 cards.
Great.
Okay, right.
So yeah, that was 1 round. Okay, so let's move on to the next round. Let's see what we've got here. A taxing summit. World agrees on a global carbon tax. So for this round, -1 coin for each biomass and gas in your grid, -2 for each coal, and carbon capture protects you. So in my case, I've got a biomass and a gas, so I've lost 2 coins this round and I have 3 to spend.
And I suppose I've got 1 coal, so that means that I'm going to lose 2, so I've only got 3 coins available.
So we've both got 3 coins, so we're sort of in the same boat here.
Yeah.
We've both been taxed equally. So let's have a look. I'm going to have a go at drawing an upgrade, see what we've got here. Oh, interesting. So I've got a carbon capture. Would have been very useful if I had this for the previous round. But this reduces my impact of my biomass, coal and gas. And you'll notice it costs 6 coins. So we normally start with 5, so it's actually quite a difficult card to build. But if you do things like draw a boost card, certain upgrades give you money, or even events give you money, that allows you to build it. So in this round, it's very unlikely that I'm going to be able to build it. Let me draw an action as well. I've got a zap. Oh, zap's probably the best action in the game, actually. This says, take 1 card from another player's grid and play it for free this turn. Very nice. So I'm going to draw another tech. Remember that I've only got 3 coins to spend. And I'll draw another action. Why not? Charge. So this allows me to steal a coin. So this is going to be an interesting round. So I'm going to start off with playing charge. So obviously I pick a player to steal from. There's only one here.
Yeah.
So I'll play it on Lewis. So I have 4 coins. Lewis has 2. I'm then going to play Zap. So take 1 card from another player's grid and play it for free this turn. So let's have a look. What's going to affect Lewis the most? Well, I could take his offshore wind, but that wouldn't really benefit me very much. So I have to think about how much do I want to benefit me, or how much do I want to kind of attack you. So I think I'm going to steal a solar in this situation, because this will allow, I also got concentrated solar. It's a pretty good thing for me. So that's me. I've spent 2 and I've had 4 coins. So I've got 2 coins left. I'll build a wind over here, and I've got 1 coin left. I can't spend this now. I'm going to keep it for the next round.
So I only have 2 coin to spend. What I'll probably do is go for an upgrade, see if that gets me more coin. It doesn't, but this one's called an interconnector. And it says that if I have this on future goes, that means I can I can draw 5 cards and I keep 2 of them at the end.
That's it, yeah.
Okay, so that's one of the options. I'm going to see what other tech there might be. Solar, which I've had stolen from me in this go already. I'm going to have a look at another upgrade. That one is hydrogen. So what does that one mean?
Yeah, so hydrogen means that in the next round, after playing it, he gets 2 extra coins each round. So instead of 5 to start with, Lewis will get 7. So it's a very good card to play early, and as the game ramps up, you get more and more money.
But I can't afford that because that's 4 coin. So what
Let's have a look. What actions we got there?
I'm going to do a boost.
Wow, look at that. That's lucky.
Okay, so I can boost my 2 with the 2 on here, and that means I have 4 coin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that down there.
Mm-hmm.
So that means I've now got 4 coin. I'm going to get the hydrogen, and I'm going to discard the solar, and I'm going to keep the interconnector in my hand until the next turn.
There you go. That's another round. So we've just finished playing our 7 rounds, and now it's time for scoring. So remember, to score, it's your grid power minus your grid impact. So we've done the quick maths here, and my total grid power is 46.
Whereas mine is 61, so a little bit more powerful.
A little bit more, yeah. But my impact is actually only 7, because I've got a little bit of a smaller grid and a lot of carbon capture. So that's brought it down to 7.
Whereas I lose 22 due to my total impact, looking at everything here, including some impact from the grid battery because of the lithium inside that, which I didn't expect.